Technology enterprises have a key role to play in the nation's pledge to achieve carbon neutrality. Here, we'll introduce some examples of large enterprises' efforts on carbon neutrality. Microsoft is one of the world's largest companies by market capitalization. Its business operations have been carbon neutral since 2012. In 2019, the company decided to go further by beginning the journey to expand its carbon neutrality from operations to the life cycle of its products. Carbon neutral product certification required Microsoft to include all the emissions from the raw materials, manufacturing, distribution, use, and disposal. In order to measure carbon emissions, Microsoft worked with an independent third-party organization, which is an expert in emissions analysis, to conduct a life cycle assessment of the greenhouse gas emissions. In order to reach carbon neutral, Microsoft is using 100% renewable energy across its manufacturing sites. Moreover, Microsoft has made its product carbon neutral by financing the Sichuan, China biodigester project. The project distributes small-scale biogas plants to low-income rural households with livestock in China. Households are equipped with devices that save methane emissions by converting previously untreated animal manure into clean biogas. The biogas can then be used for cooking, heating, and lighting instead of burning coal and firewood in the open fireplaces. So far, the project has reduced carbon dioxide emissions and harmful smoke in 400,000 smallholder farmer households. Logitech started its carbon neutral journey by making its manufacturing facility in China a carbon neutral building in 2018 with the purchase of renewable electricity certificates and offsets. The company then expanded its program to address business travel in 2019. At the end of 2019, Logitech went one step further by becoming one of the first companies in the gaming industry to make an entire portfolio of gaming products carbon neutral. This includes all of the products across its Logitech G and Astro brands are now certificate carbon neutral, and the company has committed itself to maintaining carbon neutral status in 2020. The carbon footprint of Logitech's portfolio of gaming products was also estimated through full cradle-to-grave analysis of the greenhouse gas emissions associated with sourcing and manufacturing, distribution, product use, and end of life. In 2019, the company transitioned to a new travel management platform, which tracks and reports the environmental impact of corporate travel by employees. Logitech's commitment to reducing its carbon footprint starts early in the design and innovation process by significantly reducing product weight, the amount and type of plastics used, and optimizing energy efficiency with innovations like HERO, high-efficiency related optical sensor, the most energy-efficient wireless gaming sensor. The company further reduces its carbon impact with packaging efficiencies by reducing the overall weight, carbon, and toxicity of materials, including the elimination of PVC from all product packaging and using alternative materials to replace plastic. For its remaining emissions, Logitech achieved carbon neutrality by purchasing verified emission reductions from projects around the world. In partnership with natural capital partners, the Logitech team has helped finance renewable energy and solar cooker projects in China and forest protection projects in Brazil, Canada, and Indonesia. Huawei released its Green Development 2030 report at the Green ICT Empowers Green Development Forum at the Huawei Global Analyst Summit 2022 held in Shenzhen on May 6. The Green Development 2030 report focused on how digitalization and decarbonization can drive green development, as well as potential applications of green ICT in key industries by 2030. The 6 outlooks outlined in Green Development 2030 report are: renewables go mainstream. More than 50% of electricity will come from renewable energies. The share of renewable electricity in global final energy consumption will increase to 30%. The global installed capacity of an energy storage system is expected to increase by 20-fold. The industrial sector will go green. Every 10,000 workers will work with 390 robots. Comprehensive electrification in transportation. There will be 145 million new energy vehicles and 100 million private charging piles worldwide. Future buildings will operate at net zero carbon. All new buildings are expected to operate at net zero carbon by 2030, with all buildings expected to be net zero carbon by 2050. Green digital infrastructure is becoming a basic requirement. Digital infrastructure will be 100 times more energy efficient by 2030. Low-carbon living is gaining traction. The global telemedicine market is expected to increase by over 10-fold. China's online education is expected to increase by about 23-fold. 1 billion users will take virtual tours. Tencent, the world-leading internet and technology company, announced its plan to achieve carbon neutrality in its own operations and supply chain by later than 2030 and committed itself to using green power for 100% of all electricity consumed by the end of the decade. Tencent began an internal review of its greenhouse gas emissions in early 2021. The report noted Tencent's total emissions were equivalent to 5.1 million metric tons of carbon dioxide in 2021, broken down into the following 3 categories. Direct greenhouse gas emissions from sources owned or controlled by Tencent accounted for 0.4% of total emissions. Emissions from the generation of power and other energy purchased for Tencent operations accounted for 45.9% of total emissions. Indirect emissions generated from the supply chain accounted for 53.7% of total emissions. Tencent plans to prioritize the use of active emissions reduction measures while keeping the use of carbon offsets to a minimum. To reach its net zero goal, Tencent will implement the following key initiatives. Improve resource efficiency by lowering energy consumption per unit of output throughout its operations. Significantly increase the proportion of renewable energy use, especially in electricity consumption. Tencent will also actively participate in green power trading and explore investments in renewable energy projects. Adopt carbon offsets for the remaining segments that cannot otherwise be reduced. In addition to achieving its own carbon neutrality goal, Tencent intends to play a leading role in driving change towards a low-carbon society by fostering open innovation and knowledge sharing and leveraging the reach and influence of its platforms and products. Tencent will focus on empowering 3 key shareholder groups: consumers, businesses, and society in the following ways. Promote low-carbon lifestyle and green consumption trends through the development of sustainability-themed mini programs and mobile games. facilitate a low-carbon transformation for the industrial sector by offering technologies to digitalize business operations and manage emission reduction. Support the advancement of critical technologies for carbon neutrality by pursuing partnerships in areas including the carbon capture, utilization, and storage value chain. And last, to quote from Pony Ma, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Tencent, which I believe applies to every enterprise. It is Tencent's responsibility as a global technology leader to help the world achieve carbon neutrality. And it's also an essential part of our vision to use tech for good. Not only do we believe this is the right thing to do for society, but we are eager to play our part as the global community progresses towards a carbon neutral and more sustainable future. That will be all for today's lesson. Thank you.